You're here because you're a volleyball athlete and you're tired of the recurrent pain and injuries that stop you from enjoying your sport. Now listen closely, because over the course of this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact system that I've used to rehab all of my volleyball athletes and get them playing pain-free. And the good news is that you can use and implement this exact system for your injury too. However, before you watch on, I want you to close this video if you're an athlete that is not willing to invest and put in the time and consistency required to make this work. But if you are committed and ready to put in the work, get comfortable, take notes, and know you're taking the first step to fixing your injury for good. And if you're wondering why you should trust me, well, if we haven't met, my name is Martin Yao, and I've been a qualified physio for 5 years, specializing in treating volleyball athletes like yourself. I've lived the pain you're in right now: dislocated knee, chronic back pain, and I wasted years trying random exercises and cookie cutter rehab programs that obviously didn't work. So I created my own system over years, tested, refined, and proven with real volleyball athletes at every level, from recreational to international. Like Andy, a national player who came to me with severe knee pain at only the age of 15. And now he's able to play the game with next to no discomfort in his knees. Or Jack, who came to me with debilitating shoulder pain and who now plays 3 to 4 times a week without having to worry about his shoulder again. And I could go on and show you all the volleyball athletes who no longer have to worry about their injuries. In the end, all of these athletes have one common trait that helped them succeed: commitment. Trusting the process and putting in the work day after day and continually building even after their injury no longer bothered them. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every athlete that I worked with succeeded. Even with a foolproof system, it's on you to put in the work and chase the results. If you don't, you're not going to get the results that you want. I can only take the guesswork out and make sure you achieve results as fast as possible so you don't waste time. But I can't do the work for you. So if you don't have the commitment that these successful athletes have in common, then I recommend that you don't waste your time and close this video and continue on the path that you've been on. But if you are, sit tight and let's dive in. First, it's really important to address the main obstacles that are preventing you from successfully rehabbing your injury. From my experience, I've managed to categorize all the mistakes into 3 different reasons. Chances are you're going to be in one of these 3, or otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. Reason 1, you don't actually know what's wrong. Most athletes start by Googling their symptoms or asking teammates what they think is going on. Sometimes they guess the diagnosis correctly, but even then, knowing the name of the injury doesn't tell you what to do about it. So you search something like, "How do I fix jumper's knee?" And suddenly you're buried under a pile of exercises, stretches, and conflicting advice. You either get overwhelmed and confused or overconfident, thinking you've cracked the code. Both mindsets lead to failure. If you're overwhelmed, you'll end up doing nothing consistently. If you're overconfident, you'll follow a generic plan that doesn't address the real reason you got injured in the first place. Take jumper's knee, for example. 2 athletes with the same diagnosis could need completely opposite rehab plans. One might need to strengthen a weak muscle. The other might need to redistribute the load from an overworked one. Same injury, different cause, totally different rehab. Reason number 2, there's no plan or structured system from day one to pain-free volleyball and beyond. Too often, I see volleyball athletes start rehab without any clear roadmap. They do a few exercises here and there, maybe something they saw on Instagram or something a physio gave them once, and they hope it will fix the issue. But here's the problem. If you don't know where your rehab is going, how will you know if you're actually on track? Most of the time, there's no long-term structure. Athletes think it's not that bad. I'll rest for a bit or do some exercises for a week or 2 and I should be fine. But this mindset keeps you stuck in a cycle of recurring pain. One week you're training hard, the next you're sidelined again. You need a full plan laid out from day one, a week-by-week projection that guides you from your current state all the way to playing pain-free volleyball at full intensity. More importantly, that plan needs to include what your training should look like even after you're pain-free, because rehab doesn't stop when the pain stops. That's just the halfway point. A good plan should not only help you reduce pain, but also identify your underlying weaknesses, build strength, and teach your body how to express that strength in volleyball-specific movements like jumping, landing, spiking, and diving. That doesn't mean your plan is set in stone. It should be flexible and adjust based on how you respond. But if you don't have a full picture from the start, you're just guessing your way through rehab. And guessing almost always leads to failure. Reason number 3, you're scared to load. Volleyball is a high impact sport. And if your rehab doesn't gradually build you up to tolerate these demands, your injury will come back the next time you have a big week or a weekend tournament. I see too many athletes doing banded shoulder exercises or bodyweight squats and calling it a day. That's not enough. Rehab needs to prepare you for the load of your sport. We're talking barbell squats, deadlifts, overhead pressing, movements that build real strength and capacity. Yes, loading an injured area can feel scary, but with the right timing and progression, it's the only way to bulletproof your body and stay pain-free long term. So now that we have covered 3 main reasons rehab fails, here's what successful rehab relies upon. Number 1, start with the exact root cause. Yes, getting the right diagnosis is important, but it's only the beginning. You also need to understand why the injury happened in the first place. What were the weaknesses that led to the breakdown? Which movement patterns were inefficient or risky? Was there a technique flaw? And crucially, what needs to change in your off-court training after you're pain-free to make sure this never happens again? Successful rehab isn't just about healing. It's about fixing the deeper problems that cause the injury so you can stay pain-free long-term. Number 2, following a structured week-to-week plan from day one. Things won't always go perfectly, but starting without a full plan is like trying to build a house with only a sketch and no construction sequence. It's chaotic, disorganized, and leads always to poor results. A proper rehab plan maps out what your training should look like each week, from where you are now to where you need to be, and even beyond your return to sport. It's this structure that builds consistency, clarity, and long-term success. Without it, athletes tend to guess, skip steps, or fall into the trap of short-term fixes. A clear plan gives you direction and makes every week of rehab purposeful. Number 3, getting comfortable with load. Strength is your insurance policy against injury. That means learning proper technique, executing exercises with control, and progressively increasing load over time. This is the same principle that applies in any strength program: progressive overload. Rehab is no different. No 2 weeks should look the same. As you move through the process, your program should evolve, gradually challenging your body more and more until it's ready to handle the demands of volleyball again. Too many athletes stay stuck doing the same low-level rehab exercises for weeks or months. That's not real rehab. Real rehab builds you up for your sport. If you've made it this far into the video, I want to congratulate you. Seriously. You're showing the exact traits that separate committed athletes from the ones who stay stuck. Most people want quick fixes, a stretch, a one-off session, something that masks the pain. But real athletes, the ones who want to compete for years, they build systems. Take Daniel, for example. When he came to me, he was dealing with multiple injuries. He'd already tried several programs and coaches, but nothing worked. We applied the system I shared earlier, and now he's playing multiple times a week, completely pain-free. Same with Tino. He had a meniscus injury and couldn't even weight bear. No real plan, just frustration for him. And following the system, today, he's playing full out, week after week, without knee pain or fear of re-injury. Over 400 of my athletes have followed the exact same system and approach and seen these kinds of results. And not only are they no longer injured, they feel stronger, more confident, and more athletic than ever before. So let's be real for a second. Stop blaming your genetics or age. That's not the problem. The problem is your commitment, the willingness to show up consistently and do the work. Rehab isn't always fun. Honestly, it's not supposed to be. Every athlete I coach commits to daily rehab for 10 to 15 minutes to improve mobility and strengthen weak links. They hit the gym 2 to 3 times a week. They send me videos so I can coach their form down to the smallest detail. It's not easy, but that's what it takes to get results. If you're ready to stop guessing and you want me as your physio and coach, someone who's been through it personally and helped hundreds of other athletes go through it as well, click the link in the description to send me 32 in my DMs on Instagram, and I'll reply personally to see if you're a good fit. Let's get you back in the game. I'll see you on the other side.